Hi Mrs. White, thank you so much for your time today.
That's my pleasure, Annabelle.
So today I was just hoping to get a better understanding of communication skills in a professional setting. So firstly, could you maybe just elaborate on your role within the business?
Well, my role in the business is a leadership role, and over the years it's been defined down to 12 businesses within the large franchise, the pharmacy franchise, of 230 businesses, and it's my responsibility to see that they are compliant and led to the very best of our ability.
Absolutely, yeah. So how do you speak individually to each staff to make sure that your message among the whole franchise is communicated effectively?
So each one of those businesses has a manager whom I would communicate with very regularly. However, I do make a point of communicating with each staff member on a less regular basis at staff meetings. But the major way I can contribute is through systems and processes, and to communicate at least a base standard with the systems that we're required for each staff member to implement in their daily work.
Have you found any systems and processes to be extremely effective in your time of working?
I believe that it all comes down to the design of those systems and processes, and I believe that's about everybody participating in the design of them. So when we originally did the systems for the franchise company, all the staff were involved in writing the right way. For example, if you follow the customer journey, we had a system for how the cash register was managed, how the customer was greeted, yet not to the point where we lost the communication between our staff member and the customer. So working it back, they were the systems, they were the processes that built up the system.
Yeah. So I found like the communication between managers and staff, like people who work on the cash register and pharmacy assistants, to be extremely effective in the message that you want to portray to the entire staff. But have you found that there's been anything that you'd like to redo if you had your time over in the communication between your staff?
So you're talking change management, about, so change is very difficult to bring about. People don't like change. So that calls for absolutely perfect communication, if you could call perfect communication. Change means having, firstly, the staff member understand what the outcome is we want. So that needs to be carefully looked at. And then it needs to be planned in terms of, if we're again in the pharmacy, the customer journey. And most of all, talking in terms of the staff members' interests, in that to get an outcome, they succeed, they feel better about themselves.
So I found personally that changing your approach to customers has been kind of difficult. Have you found any particularly effective ways of being able to change your approach to customers that have been effective?
Well, approaching customers is about, again, communication. And it's immediately the importance of immediately building a relationship, engaging that customer, which comes back to empathy. So I always ask my staff to greet the customer, not with some sort of patter like, how's your day been, but investing their personality in the customer. Like, you've got a lot of parcels there, can I help you with them over to the counter? Anything that can build that communication with the customer, engage the customer, and be yourself. So if you relax and be yourself, you won't find it so difficult.
Absolutely.
And it's when you get, particularly a tough customer.
Yeah. So when you're communicating with your staff, I've personally found giving negative feedback to people a bit difficult. How would you address negative feedback with a manager? Or
so that's the measure of leadership. I always say a good leader can communicate the hard stuff in a manner that's acceptable, even motivational, and that's what we want. We want all our staff motivational. So to me, it's about, again, thinking in terms of their interests, putting it in front of them and having them see that this is the problem I have, this is the problem you have, how can we sort that out? So it's basically a two-way listening, talking.
Have you found that there's been a particular scenario where negative feedback hasn't come across as motivational, as you said.
Oh yes, many times, Annabelle, many times.
Yeah.
And it's not something I think you ever get down to a fine art. Communicating negative feedback, the greatest thing about it is most people fear to do it. Most people aren't comfortable doing it. And if you're not comfortable doing something, you won't do it well. So it's about planning.
So would you plan this interaction with someone, or would you just...
If I felt I had a difficult thing to communicate with someone, yes, I'd plan it very carefully. And I would probably be pretty confident of my outcome that I wanted to achieve, but it's important to be flexible and listen to them. And often I end up with a different outcome, and it's a really good one.
So you're saying that flexibility with communication, and if you were trying to get something across to someone, and being flexible with what you wanted to achieve.
That's right.
Very
It's listening to them.
Absolutely.
So if we've thought about where we go from there in terms of listening to people, it's a skill, and you not only have to listen, you have to be seen to listen.
So how would you address that listening? Like, do you, would you give feedback? You just want to, how would you show your manager or whoever
that
you are listening to them?
I lean forward and let them know I'm engaged totally. And by leaning forward, I then listen to something they say, and I might rephrase it, and that helps.
So you were talking earlier about your processes with communication and everything. Is there any process that you would have liked to redo, I guess, and make more effective, I guess, within your business?
Yes, I would, and I think the minute I stop thinking that, well, I shouldn't be doing this job. We should be reviewing processes all the time. She's waving an answer.
So I'd just really like to thank you for your time today. It's been very educational, I guess, to get a better understanding of communication within a business setting.
My pleasure.
Thank you.